Alright, hey, what's going on? It's Marley here, and welcome to Hearthstone. I've done one other Hearthstone video before. It was a deck spotlight. It did like I don't know, better than I was expecting it to do, considering my audience and like especially considering my just poor quality play within the game. But it's currently that time period where Nax has been released and the fourth quarter's just come out. You'll notice I haven't played like a lot of quarters. I haven't played this one to get the Spectral Knight or Death Lord or Baron. I haven't gone for these two yet, and I also haven't got Wailing Soul yet. I don't actually think Death Lord is that great. It's arguably a very good card. I haven't really had a deck where I've like wanted to build. I haven't got to a point in the deck where I want to build a deck and I want to put this in it. The deck I'm going to be showing you now today, obviously. I think you'd have guessed it from the title, is the Naxxramas. Okay, so the reason I haven't got it is because I don't think it fits into this deck really well, because this is like, as far as zoo goes, I think this is the fastest zoo deck I've ever played, and I've only played like 5 or 6 games with it, but I haven't lost with it yet. Mainly because I don't think it's brand new, and it's only it's a pretty small variation on zoo, but I think it's really strong in its current form. So if I run through the cards, I guess. I'm not a good player, but I'll try and explain to you the reasoning, because I think I like this deck. I like it a lot more than I've ever played with other zoo decks. I think it's really cool. I think zoo is going to get a lot stronger, and obviously they're going to be better people with better hair than me that play guitar and stream a lot. That actually stream less than I think people would like, and probably streams will suck dick now that Twitch has cracked down on music. But there will be probably a bit better zoo decks made and different zoo decks, but I think this is my mainly Death Rattle zoo deck is what it sort of is based around, and I think it's really strong for that. So you've got 2 Soulfire, which is pretty standard. Got 2 Doomguard, which is pretty standard, and they're pretty much this well, I guess from the normal zoo you've got Soulfire, Abusive Sergeant stays. Argent Squire is going to be not making the cut, I think, after the next installment when Ooze comes out. And there's also a lot of cards, I think, that are actually better than this at this point. It was a really strong card for a long time, but I think it's slowly becoming less and less good, as things like Void Walker. If you're playing against the zoo, a Void Walker is such a good counter to an Argent Squire. So is Zombie Chow, also Haunted Creeper pretty much wrecks it as well. There's a lot of cards that have come in that have actually just sort of put this card out. Ooze is going to be another one, because it's all the cards that are 1/2s rather than 2/1s, because this card was fantastic when people were playing a lot of 1/1s or a lot of 2/1s, because you got so much value out of it, especially if you buff it with an abusive, and obviously it takes down a Void Walker with that. It's a great combo, but the card was really good then. Now it's kind of fallen off a lot, I think. Flame Imp, obviously, because it's great for tempo. You just fucking slam it turn 1, turn 2. You slam Flame Imp and Young Priestess turn 1. You've got a 2/1 and a 3/3. How's your opponent deal with that with 2 mana? What do they even do? Obviously, so the new cards that have been added, basically pretty standard. Undertaker. This, I don't know if everybody's gonna be playing this. I think it's freaking fantastic. It's been, in the games I've played, it's been pretty much the best card, the most standout new card that I've seen. Because what you do, I tend to hold on to it till turn 2 or turn 3. You slam it, it's only 1 mana, then you throw out a Zombie Chow and a Haunted Creeper at the same time, and suddenly you've got a 2/3, you've got a 1/2, and then you've got a 3/4, and it's just holy shit, that's just such a huge board to develop. And I've done it really early. If you go second, you can slam this and a Zombie Chow on turn 1, and then you've got 2 2/3s. One of which can be dealt with silence, one of which is gonna heal the enemy. I've only had this heal the enemy once, because it's very rare that I've seen it removed, honestly, because it's just so hard to get rid of it in the early game. It's the tempo on this zoo deck feels a lot stronger, I think, than other ones I've played in the past. Now the rest of the cards are pretty standard here. This is all quite normal. Haunted Creeper is obviously fucking fantastic, because it's the kind of card that your opponent is forced to ignore, because killing it only brings about more of a threat. The 2 Spectral Spiders are more of a threat than the actual Haunted Creeper itself. So it's just fucking great, especially when you buff it with a Defender and they force them to go through it. It's just a really great card all around for keeping ball clear. Obviously, the great thing about the Death Rattle cards is as the ball clear comes in, they stick around, etc., etc. You sort of get that, but it works out really, really well. Now, Iron Beak Owl, this is a card I'm adamant has to stay in zoo. because I think it's phenomenal. Because what I've been seeing a lot of recently are people be playing like the new Death Rattle cards are really popular. Undertaker's going to become really strong. You know, obviously things like Argus still exist and that, but what's going to be happening is people are going to be like power overwhelming into Voidwalker, right? This is a combo that's been playing around a lot more recently. Like, it was always a thing. I've always seen people do it, especially in low ranks of Zoo. But from what I've heard and what I've seen, it's becoming like huge. Like, people are all over the place just loving that combo. And I've seen a lot of other combos recently, especially with like stuff like Ooze and things. And there's going to be like a lot of cards that just a lot of cards that are coming out that buff so much more, that really need to be silenced. And this is, I think, now at this point, this card is so strong in Zoo just for the silence. Other than that, it's still like a 2-mana 2/1, and it's the amount of value you get out of this sometimes when you silence like Ancient of Wars and Sunwalkers and things. It's a lot of value for a really small card. So I think this is fantastic. I think it pretty much has to make the card. Knife Juggler is a card I really like. It obviously fits into the Zoo deck really well. But I'm curious to see as to how it's going to develop over the next little bit, because I think there's room to cut it, but I'm not entirely sure, because there's like 14 1-drops in this deck, right? And then Ooze is going to come out, and there's just so many cards that just spawn all over the place where this card is going to be pretty freaking fantastic. So I don't think it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Also, it looks badass. I like the way it's a little gnome with juggling his knife. It looks freaking awesome. Nerubian Egg, I'm not sold on. I like it a lot right now because it's a death rattle for my Undertaker. It's obviously really like difficult to deal with. The enemy has to ignore it when you defender it. It becomes great. There's only 2 activators. Oh, actually, wait, sorry. There's only 2 activators in this deck because I cut Dial of Alpha, which is arguably a bad thing, which is what I was going to talk about now. The only activators are Defender and Abusive Sergeant, unless you want to self-fire yourself, but that's not something I can imagine myself wanting to do, which is the reasoning behind cutting the card. I haven't really used it too much in this deck, and I think it's pretty... I'd consider cutting it. I think it'd be the first card that I'd look at getting rid of out of this deck. I just like it because of the Death Rattle, and I just sort of threw it in because it's new and because it's sort of still in my head as being good. But in this particular deck, I think you could probably get away with cutting this and adding in something else. A Leponome, not terrible. I think it's just because of the Undertaker, the Death Rattle thing is so strong. This is probably not a great card for Zoo. And then the rest of them are way too expensive, or really, that's a huge drawback. Like, this card is just not going to happen, I don't think, ever. But yeah, I could probably see myself cutting this in favor of like another 2-drop. Like Ooze might be good if you see a lot of weapon drops. I think it's always a situation decent card. This is pretty solid. It's always a nice card to see. I think actually I'm gonna cut it right now and put Wolf in because I think Wolf's better. That's like, I didn't even occur to me. I didn't realize that I'd taken Wolf out because I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I think Sunfree Protect is also really good now, with a lot of the cards that you kind of want to push into your opponent's face. So like, you want to push a Haunted Creeper to the point where it's relevant and they have to deal with it. I think that's a really nice play. I think it's almost like playable in Zoo, but it doesn't do quite enough buffing. Like, it's very rare that you want to actually like, it's very rare that you're scared and actually need to taunt something up with this deck. So that's why it sort of stays out of the deck for now. And then that's pretty much it. That's all the new cards. It's not a huge sort of change from like normal Zoo decks. It's pretty much the same sort of shit, but I've just like thrown Undertaker, Zombie Chow at it, and put 2 silencers in because I like them. But I think this is pretty much like gonna be the core of where I like this deck, because all the games I've played, this has come in super handy, like an Ancient of War, and just I don't know, I can't understand not playing the silence. I know people reason against it, but I can't understand not playing it. I think it's way too good for that. Mortal Coil and Power Overwhelming, I don't really like. This is obviously great with Egg, and you see all these great combos where it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna Power Overwhelming my Egg and run it into this, and I'm gonna Void Terror it, and that only cost me 4 mana. It looks like such a good play, and then you just bust out an Owl, and suddenly the whole plan went to shit. And just got a 3/3 on the board, and just, oh shit, man, just fucking got wrecked. Hey, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I've been like working towards thinking about making or like putting out Hearthstone gameplays, just because I play the game occasionally and I enjoy it when I do it. You could do like funny commentary-ish kind of with it. Like, I could play like slightly interesting decks. Most of my decks are basically just like standard decks, like normal decks as they're supposed to be built, with like one or two really, really stupid gimmicks in the end of them. So like this is just like a regular hunter deck, right? Like it's just a regular hunter deck. But then we gotta have Crush, man, because if you don't play Crush, you can't consider yourself a player. Because it's a fucking giant dinosaur and he like stomps onto the screen, and it is just the most beautiful ending to a game. Like when you top deck a Crush, and it's just like beautiful. Or when the best draw of a Crush, right? Like when your web spinner gives you a Crush. Like, you play the web spinner on turn 8, and you're like, oh my god, what a shit draw. And then they kill it. And then you crush them. And it's like, oh my god, I'm the fucking best. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you want to see more Hearthstone stuff, then let me know. I will actually... I'd be very interested in doing it. Because I like the game. I think it'd I'd have a lot more fun playing the game if I was going to be making content around it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.